6 Casement Avenue.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Need a motion to approve the minutes from the April 21st, April 27th, and May 2nd meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. And before we move on to that, we're going to go ahead and we passed a resolution in March to recognize Project Hope and for their anniversary, 30th anniversary. So I don't know, did I read it last time? But I'll read it again. So we have a representative from Project Hope, and I'll read it again for the record. And it says, whereas Project Hope for the Homeless is located in Painesville Township, and whereas Project Hope has operated continuously since 1993, having served more than 8,500 guests since its inception. And whereas the mission of Project Hope is to respectfully and compassionately empower persons who are homeless with hope by providing emergency and transitional shelter, care, and guidance together with the community through multiple program offerings. And whereas Project Hope also provides aftercare and goal-oriented programs to assist guests from Lake, Geauga, Ashtabula, and Cuyahoga counties. And whereas Project Hope for the Homeless is being celebrated for its 30th anniversary of continued success and dedication to the people of Lake County. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the Painesville Township Board of Trustees wishes to congratulate and thank Project Hope for the Homeless for its contributions to the neediest citizens of our community. And we have Judy from Project Hope will come up and receive the resolution. We'll come out there.
Come out here, because you're not going to fit that in there.
Yeah, well, all of us. You can hold it if you want.
Bill, get your head out of the way.
Thank you. We did it early to get you out of here after
God bless
the
you.
punishment last time.
Thank you.
Yeah. We put you through it last time, so.
Thank you, brother.
So appreciate
Yes, thanks.
It was really cool. I have to say this Mother's Day, I got 6 texts from former shelter guests saying Happy Mother's Day.
Really?
That's awesome.
it. Isn't that nice?
That's great.
6 of them out of 9 grand like me.
Hey, there you go. That's a good ratio.
It's a good start. Thank you, Judy. Thank you for all you do and your people.
Okay. Summary of the work session, please.
We discussed updates to movie night, family fun day, and the fire chief discussed the recent call volume that's increased, promotional exam updates, upcoming events that we have going on in the fire department. The service director gave some updates on road and sidewalk construction and the OPWC project applications they will be doing for the Heatherstone area. Planning and zoning discussed Connect projects and one of them specifically on Bacon.
And we'll hold an executive session.
We held an executive session to discuss the acquisition of public property or private property for public use and an economic development incentive program.
Okay. Thank you. Any old business from the floor? Is there more minutes?
Maybe 45 something to drive. Just real quick, on the old business, do you have any updates on the Center Park Estates flooding? I've only been talking about this for 17 years, so I don't really want to rush into anything. But, you know, to a point of ridiculous, just like Bill knows, between January 1 and March 31st of this year, winter, we flooded 7 days. 7 days. And I know we didn't have a lot of snow and it was warm and everything, and Normandy was, you had the signs out there a few days also with the road being covered, and you know. And I mentioned this at the commissioners meeting, you know, it's only been 17 years, why rush into anything, you know?
So yes, we do have updates. We're actually, there's things we're working on, new things have transpired to hopefully solve some of the issues with retention basins. Because somebody acquired the property that we originally were going to use for the retention basin, we now have to try and work some different solutions. So we met with Stormwater 2 weeks ago, roughly, and had a discussion to present some options and the Lake County Fair Board. because of the property there. So we worked out maybe some possible ideas. Tim's taking it back to the engineer consultants to see if what we're conceptually coming up with will suffice and will work. And then if that is the case, then we can progress moving forward. So we're getting closer, hopefully, if this turns out that it will work. We have a concept that if it'll work, then we just have a few pieces of puzzle to fill in, and then they can start engineering and working on it. So
And it's multiple pieces.
It's not just one.
It's not just the pond, detention pond. It's that. It's some pipe. It's cleaning out.
Property acquisition, trading property, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a lot of moving parts, but if it all works out, then it would essentially present the solution that they feel will work, and then they can start the process of beginning that. So we are a lot closer than we've ever been, is to answer the question.
Well,
So
I agree, I understand that, but I've heard this for 17 years.
we've never
You
been
know,
this
I'm
close in
just saying,
17 years.
you know,
so.
the thing about it is, you know, I've heard proposals. Oh, we're going to do. I won't mention what. Oh, we're going to do this on the fair board's property. Oh, well, that's actually the county property there. We're going to do this with a retention basin and all this stuff. I've heard this. I've heard that. 17 years, and I've heard all this stuff, and now we're coming back to the same old proposals. And the thing, I know that there's a lot involved in this, and I understand that. And like I've said before, you've got the federal government because it's now designated as a stream, and then you got the state, and you got the county and the township, and then you got all the property owners involved. So I mean, 5 different entities there. So it's just, you know, I'm just saying, as a person that lives there and sees this flooding, I mean, just like it would say Chuck's house. I wouldn't want Chuck's house to flood, but he lives it. He just don't hear about it, but he lives it. So this is what, you know, and most of those people over there by me are all seniors. 13 of the units are seniors. So
I can tell you this: in my almost 12 years here, we're closer than we've ever been. So I don't
Okay.
know if that gives you any. You know, I know it's been quite the process, but I can tell you that in the almost 12 years, it's the closest that I've ever seen us getting to finding a solution that can actually start moving forward. So
And you know, unlike most situations we find ourselves in where funding is the biggest
I
constraint,
understand that.
in this case, with the stormwater department and the stormwater fees that everybody pays into, there's money to do the improvement.
right.
We just need to nail down what that improvement is. So the biggest hurdle, the biggest typical hurdle is the funding, and that's in place.
I understand. I hear that every week, and I go to the commissioners' meeting about the funding.
And
I
throw a
hear
wrench
that
in it. We
all the
thought we
time.
had the solution, and then somebody bought the property that we
Yeah.
thought would, which we
And a
didn't think would
chance,
happen.
right. I
Because
understand.
2 other times it didn't happen, so we thought it wouldn't happen again, and of course the wrench got thrown in as
Yeah.
usual. So
People change, you know.
Yep.
I've talked to so many people on this. At all, even at the federal government, I've talked to people. So you wouldn't believe it. And on the state. So I'm just saying. And then lastly, I just want to thank our sheriff's department for doing what they do. And you know, the thing is, they have a very, very tough job. And just to remind everybody, because people just tend to not think about this, you know, there's 23 communities here in Lake County, 9 villages, 9 cities, and 5 townships.
Hang on a second.
And Painesville Township,
Mike. You stop here talking.
Yeah. and Painesville Township is a border community. You know, just like I talked to the Border Patrol. Last thing it was over, almost 80,000 people have come across the northern border, and they've asked, and what's happening, the drug cartels are flying them to Canada because you don't need a visa to come to Canada. And then they walk down through it, you know, and just like coming across Lake Erie, as you know, Fairport's pretty close. Remember at one time they talked about putting a bridge there across Lake Erie, and they were going to do it up near there because that was the shortest distance across Lake Erie. This is probably maybe before, probably with your grandfather, Gabe. He was the trustee when I first came on 2006. I talked to you. I knew your grandfather. But anyhow, beside the point, I'm just saying the sheriff's going to have a tough time, and you heard about the incidents there in Painesville and so forth. And I hear from people that there's a lot of large vehicles coming in with people in them here. So I won't get into that, but this is happening. So I just want to know, you know, it's only going to be more costly for everybody, you know, because, you know, law enforcement has more work to do. And I'm perfectly clear. I'm not against legal immigration. All I'm asking is you follow our laws to come into this country. That's all I ask. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Any other old business? Any new business from the floor? Sassy, come up and please state your name and address for the record, please.
My name's Carl Kleckner. I live down on Abels Avenue next to Lake Train. Guess you could say I'm here representing a few people. It's about the those ATV things. They cut across the back of Lake Train behind Grand Haven, get back to the power lines. And they do donuts in my backyard. My backyard butts up to Grand Haven. And it's just getting kind of, we'd like you to put a stop to it. Like put up a fence by the power lines, maybe.
Well,
That's certified wetlands there.
So it's not.
no, it's not our
It's
property.
not township properties.
It's Lake County property, but they cut through and they're dumping garbage at the end of Grand Haven.
Sir, what's your address? I can
It's
Google it.
445 Abels, and I own land all the way back to Grand Haven.
445 Abels.
Yes, sir.
Harley, can you put it up on the screen by chance? Just
It's the back end of Lake Trans property. They cut through and go through it. When your dad was here before, they were shooting back there, and he kind of took care of it back then. But there's no fence there.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought there had to be a fence. You know, we thought there was supposed to be a fence along the power lines, but there ain't.
I'm gonna pull this up. Just
yeah, let's
so
give
we're
it. Give us.
discussing.
Yeah, bear with us while we pull it up so,
No,
we can,
no,
so we can
problem.
see an aerial and see.
But you could drive a truck through there.
Sheriff's got some off-road vehicles now.
Well, they've done a good job. We've called on them, and they've done a good job cutting it back. Just not got rid of it.
Okay, so here's 455 Abels.
And
And end of Grand Haven there, it cuts through to the power lines.
Cuts through here to get to
Yeah.
the phones.
So where are you asking? Are you asking for a fence?
Just along the power lines.
So who owns that
Put
property?
up some signs.
CEI.
Sheriff says I got to put signs on my property if I got to.
So Lake Train owns
So
the
Lake
lot.
Tran owns it, and
Who owns
CEI
the-
probably owns the
Is that
power lines,
is that
right?
CEI ownership?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's no way they'll.
Yeah, they're not gonna.
They won't put a fence.
I mean, is this?
They don't put fences.
Well,
on
I mean,
power lines.
You know, you can put signs up if it's a wetlands. Put like that. You know, wetlands $10,000 fine. Put up no dumping
Well,
signs. Put
just
up
so
no truck.
we can't put a fence up because it's not our
I'm
property.
not-
But
you can put up signs. They're dumping on township.
well, we can
They're
request Lake.
dumping on Strother Street there. There's no street. It's next to my house. It wasn't vacated. So that's your property too. And they're dumping, you know, garbage on
Look
there.
on that. Is that our set?
They're
Yes,
cutting
this is
across your
Struthers.
property to get the
Right
Oh,
here,
lake.
that's
the
the-
paper street.
Okay.
That's our
I,
property.
mean, I wonder if can we?
I would start with signs.
Go ahead.
Signs are difficult, right? So,
Well,
so we have.
we call the sheriffs. They say, put a sign on my property. Well, you put one in yours? You don't put one in your property that says no dumping, no doing donuts
So
and shit.
would having a sign, Jerry,
Help you
change-
guys?
help or change anything as far as teeth?
Well, illegal dumping is illegal dumping. If somebody gets caught littering, they're gonna, and it's on your property, we'll have to call the township to see if they wanna pursue charges. Same,
Well, I've had them dump them on my property, and then I know who it is. I just take the shit back down, dump it back on their property. But the ones on the township at the end of the street, I used to mow there, and they keep somebody in the last week dumped a bunch of shit, and now you can't even get.
what kind of stuff?
It's branches if you go in the
so
woods.
It's yard stuff.
Yeah,
It's not like.
you know they don't put it in their
it's not
backyard; they put it in
garbage
mine.
from,
That gets kind of old.
Like, okay, it's not like tires and.
No, it's not that-
It's,
Yard waste, it's
We,
not
we
trash.
pulled out a lot of that stuff when I moved in.
Here,
But
I
don't know.
no,
Okay.
it's not that.
So
stuff.
it's yard waste, not trash.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
so what I would say
Is that
is,
right of way?
I
I think
would throw
it
up a
is.
sign. I mean, I agree with you. I mean, it wouldn't hurt to put up a sign that says no yard waste allowed.
At the end of Grand Haven, at the end of Abels,
Yeah.
you think?
Well, they put a no dumping sign at the end of my street. I called like 20 years ago,
Okay.
and they haven't dumped. But
I
they
would say
they
yard
are starting to
waste.
cut through with the four wheelers, and you try and catch them, and you can't.
It's not
They'll
gonna
mow
stop.
down your kids if they're out there.
So so four wheelers and dirt bikes. So I live on the other side of the township, and
Once they get to the power lines,
see, at
it's
the end of
all weekend
at the
long
end
back
of my street is the old Sidley Airport property, and so it's illegal to ride dirt bikes and four wheelers on the roads and on private
Well,
property.
some of them got license on them. Some are coming from Grand River now. Whether you put a sign on the street like you do in those semis, I don't know. You got to start doing something because I'm getting hurt and I'm retired, so I can start messing with them.
Well, as far as enforcement goes, we're not going to be able to drive back. But number one, are they allowed to drive on private property without permission? No. So you would need CEI to say we're gonna pursue charges for people driving back there. Second, we're not chasing them, and they're not gonna stop for us. So you have that issue. And number three, it's we could live back there, and it's still not gonna
No,
solve the
it's
problem.
they go back there for like 20 minutes and come out.
Yeah,
You know, you guys that did a good job catching a lot of them in the neighborhood,
yeah,
but there's still those that sneak in there.
yeah. So
Plus the traffic when Dominic had that crack house on Morel, the traffic from Painesville was coming through.
Well, that's what I
Our
was
cars were
wondering if
getting
we could.
broken into. The car behind us on Grand Haven got stolen last year.
yeah,
We could approach Lake Tran to see if they could use some
We
funding.
don't want a fence along our lot lines because you know who wants to be in a prison.
No,
But if
but
they
where
could
our
do something over there to block it. If it's a certified wetlands, isn't that state? I mean, I don't know.
no, not if it's on your property. It's just delineated as wetlands. It doesn't necessarily state control per se. Just state controls what you can do with it, or EPA. But that's Lake Tran butts up against our the road
The road right away area.
the road right away area. So we could approach Lake Tran and see if they would be willing to put a fence along that property line to stop the people because going through, essentially it's going through their property as well.
Yeah, it goes over your property to go through their property.
Correct.
It's a-
Well, they're gonna tell us to put the
Nice.
damn fence up. They're not gonna wanna do that.
Well,
What
they got
motivates them to do it?
being a good neighbor and
so just
having the money.
keep in mind too, ATVs, depending on, are allowed to be on secondary roadways, but the operator has to have a driver's license. They have to have a license plate or a rec sticker, depending on the type. So if you do see them driving, they have to follow all the normal traffic rules, obviously that any motor vehicle would have to, but they are permitted on the roadway as long as it's secondary. So over that area, they're pretty much allowed to. Grand River might have an ordinance because it's a village versus a township. But as far as the township goes, they have rights to the roadway too, but they have to follow the normal traffic.
Yeah, I've seen the ones with the license. You know.
Yeah.
Those usually like the ones that go in there.
Yeah.
Those are
right,
those
yeah.
bigger golf cart ones where they drive around with a bunch of kids.
Yeah, but even the 4-wheelers, the 3-wheelers, and the dirt bikes are allowed on the roadway.
Even without a license plate?
They have to have a license plate and a driver's license.
So maybe,
But so even if they all went and got licensed, it's not going to stop what he's concerned with. That's,
Well, right, but I noticed you mentioned that.
sure.
But yes, I mean it's the nature of the beast. I mean you're gonna have it, unfortunately, and they're just gonna run from us. But I mean we try to do our best, but
and I've lived the dirt bike nightmare where
It's
I
a
live.
nightmare,
It,
man.
oh, it is.
And then they come out there with mud on their tires. You could fall into their house. It's ridiculous.
And
They think they own the damn thing.
I've lived it and continue to live it, and it's an enforcement problem that they'll take off, they'll go wherever, and it's difficult to catch them.
And then unless you put a fence that spans the whole property, and at that point, since it's buried in the woods, there's
If you-
probably a
if-
good chance.
They'll knock it
I
down.
think
knock
if
it
you
down
walk
or cut
back
a
that
hole.
trail and you saw where it comes out by the power lines with the marsh over here, and then there's an old fence that runs behind those houses. It's a 100-foot stretch. You got to block it. It's the only way you're going to stop it.
You know,
I don't know.
and- yeah, that's the only way
Safety
because if you
issue,
put some at the end of the road, if we put some at the end of the road, they're just going to go through your yard. So.
Well, they're going through my yard now.
Oh, okay.
You know, they're
Where's
turning
that
my yard. They
100
go
foot?
up there and do donuts and shit. You know, it's ridiculous.
Where's that 100-foot stretch on this map?
It's between the power lines and when you come through the woods, you're right into the reeds there, and you're probably 20 feet from the maintenance trail. You can't see it there, but there's an old fence that runs down behind the houses from the right side.
Can you do a measurement from the?
And if you walk
point of the
back there,
triangle right there,
the grass
where your
back
cursor
there is 10
yeah,
feet
to the-
tall. I'm surprised it's
to the
even
end-
that tall
to
with
the
the
end.
power lines. You put 100
headwest
Mexicans back
ish,
there.
northwest ish.
So,
Okay,
I mean, it's-
so go here up.
Yep.
so to address the dumping of yard waste, we've got what
No, that's not what he's saying, dude.
The picture doesn't show where the water is.
Keep going.
So you're not seeing the water. You're looking at cattails there.
All right, so right there, let's say. But they would just go around it.
Yeah,
I mean, you're
because then
talking-
you also have
What's
well,
fence?
Is it like chain link fence or? I mean,
I mean, even if you did chain link, you're talking.
and they're gonna go in and take bolt cutters and cut a section out and.
I don't know, but something's got to be done.
So as far as
Somebody's gonna get hurt. You're gonna get a kid hit on the street. I'm telling you, they fly down them streets.
Yeah, I was gonna say $10. You're right. So $10. You're looking at 1,000 feet, so $10,000 for a fence. But you're talking tree removal, land clearing to make it fit. So that's probably a good $15,000 project.
I don't think it'd be that much.
Well, they're saying $10 per lit.
Cattails back there. If you just followed it,
Oh, those aren't trees and stuff there along our line.
there's
Yeah.
trees. The woods is like 150 feet, maybe 100 feet wide.
Yeah, that's
Between
what I'm
those.
getting at. I'm getting at
Then you
if
get in the cattails in the marsh.
no. I'm saying if we ran if it ran along a property line of us in Lake Tran, it measures about 900 feet from
Yeah.
that corner.
If you went there out to the boulevard or something, yeah.
I mean,
That's not even in the boulevard. That's just from the.
I wouldn't do that.
if you put a fence there, they're gonna come. They're gonna ride along the fence. till
Stand
it
back
ends
by
and
the
come-
CEI line. Like I said, you gotta walk back to look at it.
It's 1,300 feet.
Yeah, there's no. I mean, it's $20,000 project easy.
More than that.
For I don't.
He says there's a 100-foot area.
There's what?
Because they've got marsh everywhere else, they wouldn't be able to drive through.
No, dude, this is
Use
not
the
what he's talking
woods,
about.
block-
That's
block
way
the
over there.
trail,
He's
do
talking about
something.
there. That you'd have to get that off. The marsh comes down further by the power lines.
yeah, and doing
Just
tree
lay some-
clearing.
This is the trail. So there's two ways of going the trail. This way down and it wraps down, and then there's a trail that cuts through here. Like you can kind of see this is
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the ravine, but the trail cuts out. So there's a cut over the ravine somewhere that allows them to cut out and come this way.
Right.
So the other one obviously is like this is water ravine, and there's a trail that comes through this way. So this is the old trail.
Yeah, and technically
You know
this
a
is
lot
all
about this.
public
Maybe I should be
roads.
keeping an eye on Sean.
He's got a license.
And
Oh,
then
there's-
clearing the trees, you're just creating more space for them to ride on.
Well,
anyway,
right,
up
because you'd
and
have to
down.
clear to have fence put in.
They're gonna ride around a fence. I mean,
Right.
there's
Well,
a fence.
if you
There's a fence at the end of my
If you
street.
got
the
a
neighbors
tree
put up.
company, just take some big ass logs and lay it in the end. Just block them for a while. And once you shut them down, you shut them down. They ain't gonna start back up.
Plus it's private property.
I mean, you got $300,000 houses on
He
Grandhaven.
doesn't want it on our road.
Well, I think he's saying if we put one there, it would block them from going down, is what he's getting at. So, but I get what you're saying. Yeah, I don't know what the solution is.
So as far as the dumping of yard waste, Bill, is there from what you recall, it sounds like maybe there is a no dumping sign at the end of one street.
Abel's.
But just dumping, nothing referencing yard waste. So
Nothing on trespassing, dump, you know.
just put some. I mean,
Is
Things
it-
that were dumped was it sticks or the trash?
sticks.
No, it's just
Yard
branches.
waste.
And if you go in the woods a little bit, there's piles of.
So
So there was a house that more recently sold that had an abundance of it, so it's a possibility that
No.
it was dumped there. And
No, if you go down there and look at them, they're red leaves. There's only 2 red trees at the end of them.
so I mean, is
But it's people in the neighborhood bringing their shit down,
So-
just throwing it.
we can come up with an idea of maybe we need one at the end of Grand Haven as well, a no
Both.
dumping with some sort of supplemental sign, whether it's a no trespassing, maybe it's a custom. Yeah.
You're still gonna do it though. That's the problem.
Well, and then it
It's
becomes an enforcement
It's
issue.
already an
Right, at
enforcement
least
issue.
it's a start. Like they tell me, it's a start.
Put on their video surveillance.
I thought of
Pretty
that
believe
too,
And that's
but I
like put
followed
video
them home.
surveillance, They just put it on the sign.
And that's the thing that
It can't hurt to put a no
they would-
yard waste sign, no dumping yard waste or trash, whatever. Combine the two so that it's referenced. Both things are referenced, and then a no trespassing, Painesville Township property, no trespassing, and
and I guess if
It's
I mean, if you
technically a
could,
right of way though, isn't it?
I mean, I hate all these little things all over different communities, but if deputies out there on regular patrols
So
and
we would have
see
to
somebody
make-
going down the
vacate it?
street with yard waste,
could we make it?
that-
Vacate
Want them
it,
doing
yeah,
that,
but
dude?
What?
would we have to,
You got the
finish
sheriff
out
chasing yard
the-
waste?
Nah.
if
if if we
Who
vacate
does?
it, would you guys have to do like a
Well, not the
turnaround or
sheriff's
something?
department. That's not a criminal activity. That's a zoning violation.
Since you guys have those dead end streets, would you have to cul-de-sac all of them?
If somebody's dumping things on
Can it-
private property,
Now that we're home rule,
Or
is there
on-
any teeth to make something that would be criminally enforceable?
I'm just saying, if you see somebody then going down with yard waste, you know, if they could then stop them and
now,
say,
now that we
hey,
have the home rule designation, is there a possibility to create a?
I mean, not an
Criminal
active,
act.
not actively
It would
Yeah,
go
sitting there
once we
looking,
vacate
but
the road, half would go
Oh, I know what you
to
mean.
each property. It's split down the middle legally.
Well, I appreciate it.
So half would go to Lake Train and half would go to the property owners that abut it.
All right. Well, yeah, we'll discuss it and see what we can.
Appreciate it.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I'd love to say we could fix it for you, but knowing that with the issues we have throughout the township, it's going to be a tough fix. But we'll see what we can do to address it. Okay. All right. Fair enough. Thank you. I see anybody else. Nope. Okay. Sheriff's office.
For the month of April 2023, the Sheriff's Office received 1,338 calls for service. Of those calls for service, and not limited to, we had 8 property damage accidents. We arrested an adult male for drug paraphernalia, a male for disorderly conduct, a female for domestic violence, felony of the 4th degree, and assault. An adult female for possession of methamphetamine and possession of drug paraphernalia, an adult male for felony vandalism and criminal trespass, an adult male for disorderly conduct, and another adult male for disorderly conduct, and 3 adults for warrants. 44 alarms, 14 citations for various criminal traffic violations, or not criminal, but traffic violations. 163 warnings for various traffic violations. 7 driving under suspensions. We had a burglary at Andover Court Apartments where the family our wife and husband was sleeping inside, and a male attempted to make entry. While making entry, he was addressed and the male ran off. Evidence was collected for the crime lab, and that's being looked at right now. Hopefully we'll get a match from either DNA or fingerprints and some other investigative techniques. 23 disturbances, 84 suspicious circumstances, vehicles, and persons, 28 welfare checks. The vandalisms, one was, I kind of addressed this last meeting, I believe. One was at the Park Road Church. They've been arrested. It was 2 juveniles that were caught. They were runaways from the Cayley home. ATV complaints are on the rise. Obviously, we did talk about them already. We had 2 complaints in March. We had 8 in April. Most of those are from Bull Hall for the tracks, just like previous years. I will be putting out a message regarding ATV usage within the townships like I do every year around this time. Soon. I've been tied up with some stuff, but it's going to be out there. The railroad death is still in an investigative stage. We don't want to give too many updates with that, so I'm going to hold off on that until that becomes more wide known. We have 4 interns from 3 from Riverside. I'm sorry, 1 from Menor, 2 from Riverside, and another one from a college this next 2 weeks. We have working with trespass issues in the condos off of trade winds. I guess there's some juveniles that live nearby, and they continuously are walking through the condo property. So we've been kind of trying to be the mediator in that issue. I've been working with Lake Erie Shores about a certain individual that we're trying to ban from their property as well. Louis Run was a week or so ago, and that went very well. They had about a couple thousand people there, but no issues at all, and they're planning on doing it again next year. But it was actually a really nice event.
that was at the fairgrounds. We'll be at the Coast Guard station this weekend on Saturday for their open house. We'll have our water rescue equipment and our dive team equipment, and I think the boat's going to be stopping by, but we'll have a nice display set up. Menor Avenue at the tracks, we had what was suspected to be an explosive ordnance that was laying by the railroad tracks. At least it looked like a mortar of some type. As an abundance of caution, the bomb squad was called out. We did have to close the roadway between Fern and Menor Avenue and some areas within the Giant Eagle parking lot, just for precaution, till the bomb squad was able to x-ray it. They did x-ray it. They believe it was, the x-ray was inconclusive, but they did secure the item and will detonate it in a proper manner, using some techniques that they have, just to make sure that it's not going to injure anybody else. The FBI is looking into the situation with Norfolk and Southern PD.
When did this happen?
We sleeping like last Sunday.
Yeah,
Or a week ago Sunday.
Wow.
It's like a World War II bomb. They used to just like drop.
Up by airplanes, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I missed the memo on that one. Goodness.
Yeah, we didn't do a press release because Norfolk and Southern was gonna lead. They actually responded to the scene, so they were gonna lead the invest. We did assist, obviously, with the traffic control and closing of the roadways, and then we went and looked at several cameras in the area. The only cameras that would be of some kind of help would be Giant Eagle, but Norfolk and Southern is actually taking care of that. Hopefully those cameras will work, but they're not.
That's reassuring.
Like they're taking care of all the stuff down there.
Right.
But
Southern Ohio.
but the feds were notified. FBI was notified as well, and I think that they have an agent or two looking into it too. But nothing that we've been made aware of any concern for the area. But it was actually on the Painesville City side of the tracks, but it was just enough onto the track right away for it to be ours. Fire department came down, and so did the city's FD, and then helped block traffic.
Wow.
But we should. That's about it for the month of April.
Thanks.
One question, one statement actually.
Mhm.
ATV complaints in the Bohol area. You said there was maybe 8. How?
Oh well, there were. I'm assuming most of them came from Bohol, but we did get one from Casement, Bannerstone, and Big Rock as well. But I know just from listening to the radio in my office on some days,
Is it
a lot of
typically
them come from
one
Bohol.
multiple residents on Bohol, or typically
The same.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then just the other thing you mentioned, I think this weekend, Coast Guard open house.
Yes.
That Coast Guard station, just FYI, is in Painesville Township. So.
Oh yes.
So
yes.
just in case anybody ever asks or anything.
Oh yeah, that's why I mentioned it.
Okay.
But yes,
throw it
yeah.
out there.
Pay off of right by Headlands.
Yep.
So if you go right by Morton Salt, their driveway is on the left-hand side, right before you get to the Sidley gate for the river.
Question. Did Captain Izzo give you any information about the... Huh? Chief, my bad. Did he give you any information about the upcoming contracts with the dollar amounts and such?
So the deputies have signed. Correct. The deputies have signed their contracts. We do have a new price point. I will cover that with him. So he's probably gonna have to type you an email about the new.
Well, he told me he told me we are gonna get it today. That's why I'm asking the question.
Oh, okay.
So I thought maybe you came, since he's not here, I thought maybe you came with that information.
If I did not, they were in the morning meeting when I left for here. So when I go back, if that's prepared, I will get it to you guys. And I'm sure it will be if he said it would be, but he left that off.
Okay, good enough. Thank you.
Thank you.
For next contract cycle, right?
Well, it's for next contract cycle, but it gives us numbers to work with for what we're working on.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Service department.
Our annual curbside brush pickup will be Monday, June 5th. We'll be doing this in-house without any outside help, so it's going to take more than one day. Brush must be tied in bundles not exceeding 4 feet in length. Please have it placed at the curb by 7:30 on Monday, and we will continue until all roads have been checked and all brush has been picked up. And we had last Friday we had our annual snowplow painting with the Riverside Local Schools Art Department, and once again it was a success. And thanks to Painesville Township Sherwin-Williams for their generous help with the paint. That's all I have.
Mr. Thompson, so I stand corrected. I checked my thing. You were correct. I have been wrong before, and this just reaffirms
I
the
was
point.
never going to say a word about it.
Right. I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
You have a recording, right?
Yeah, stream. They're gonna spin that one back on me.
Your little soundbite. I was wrong.
I was.
Yeah, it was a soundbite of that.
Okay. Fire department? Okay. Zoning?
Nothing to add, Mr. Chairman.
Legal?
Nothing to add.
Administrator?
Nothing to add.
Fiscal officer?
I just need you guys to set the public hearing for the annual budget when you get to it.
All right. So, trustees, I need a motion to amend the resolution number 8 for fiscal year. It should read fiscal year 2024 at the next regular scheduled meeting, 11 a.m. on Tuesday, June 20th, 2023.
All right, hang on. Where are you at on the thing?
Number 8.
Number 8.
Is that even necessary to have on the, when you're just doing a, setting a public hearing, is it necessary to have that?
The right dates?
No, I mean, just to have it on the.
No, to have. Are you
Yeah,
saying
to have it as a
on-
motion.
on a
or,
motion? Doesn't necessarily need to be a motion. It's essentially the chairman has the discretion at this point to choose the date.
Right.
So
We've
so long
always
as
done.
it's on the agenda. You guys could talk
But I
about
thought
it.
anytime we alter the agenda, but you're saying
Anytime, I understand what you're saying. Is
Okay.
Anytime you're altering the agenda, yeah, it would be great to amend or, to
Okay.
modify the agenda accordingly.
right.
But it's not necessarily, you don't need a motion to set the public hearing. And I think that's what the fiscal
So I
officer
just set the public hearing.
Correct.
Right. Okay.
Do you need that on, is it required to have that on the agenda?
If I'm
Well, I mean, really, what that would be, that would fall under your section and say, hey, Mr.
you
Chairman,
missed
I
it.
would like there to be
Right.
a
But does it
public
need to be
hearing.
on the agenda without, so I guess the thing is, we forget something like that, cause I was looking at it, I'm like, oh, I don't see it on here. So we kind of screwed around, trying to change the agenda. Is it necessary to go through that hassle to change?
Not
the
necessarily.
agenda
Yeah, when
for
I saw
something like
that come out just now, it's
Yeah.
not necessary.
Okay.
Essentially,
Just curious.
especially in light of the fact that it could be under your section, and then you could ask the chairman, hey, we need to set a public hearing for this budget.
Okay.
And then, all right, what dates are we looking at? All right,
okay.
let's set it for this date.
Got it.
Okay.
Done.
So we don't need a resolution for that. So okay.
Yeah.
Void. Okay. So I need a motion to approve a resolution to adopt zoning commission recommendation to approve the proposed map amendments. Oh, we already did that. Number 1, that we already continued that. Number 2, I need a motion to approve a resolution to approve payment to Bill Conti Plumbing LLC in an amount of $3,000 to replace expansion tank at water heater where?
Service garage.
Service garage.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. I need a motion to approve a resolution to approve payment to Traffic Control Products in the amount of $3,755 for a decorative lamp. We will receive an insurance check for this amount.
This was a pole base that was hit at Menor Avenue and Fairgrounds Road, traffic accident, and the insurance company paid for the replacement.
Okay.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. I need a motion to approve a resolution to approve payment to Indie Equipment and Supply LLC in the amount of $3,069.82 for drainage pipe to be used by the service department.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. I need a motion to approve a resolution to approve the hiring of Austin Dunn as a temporary summer worker in the service department with a start date of May 8th at a rate of $17 an hour with no benefits.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I need a motion to approve a resolution to approve payment to Brown Enterprise Solutions, the amount of $3,100 for 4 computers at the fire department.
So moved.
Second.
Did they change their name?
I don't know. We got them from CMH and they said.
Oh, okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. I need a motion to approve a resolution to approve payment to Sedgwick in the amount of $7,000 for group retrospective rating for workers' comp.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And then I need a motion to convene to executive session.
Mr. Chairman,
What?
did we already set a?
Oh yes, sorry. So no, I just said it though. So I'm going to set a public hearing for a budget hearing for fiscal year 2024 at the next regular scheduled meeting, 11 a.m. on Tuesday, June 20th, 2023.
Mr. Chairman, is it for budget year 2024 or 2023?
2024. Did I
Okay.
say? Yeah, 2024
Next
on
year's budget.
2023.
Okay.
Okay. And then I'll need a motion to convene to executive session to discuss staffing in the legal department and
In the service department.
staffing in the service department.
So moved.
Second.
Roll, please.
Chairman Chiccanetti?
Yay.
Trustee Pennock?
Yay.
Trustee Hilliard?
Yay.
So since
I think it should be a motion to adopt the resolution
to approve. Okay. All right. I was gonna say because I'm like saying approve twice. I was like, I didn't like it as I was saying it every time.
Can you?
Who's gonna work with Karen? We're already on the color now.
Holding the wrong things. You got to tell her the right thing.
Well, yeah, I think it should be a motion to adopt the resolution approving